Welcome, my name is Roy Andersen. I've tried to understand intelligence and how children learn for most of my life. As a scientist, I invented or discovered a new theory of intelligence called the brain-environmental complex. As a teacher, over 25 years, I've tried to find ways of helping all children to learn better. And I've devised the Andersen attitude method of teaching. Consider what really happens. Teacher walks into a classroom, children are out of order. The teacher shouts, "Sit down, shut up, I want to talk to you." They give them a textbook. The children work through the textbook as best as they're able. The teacher asks them to complete questions, make an assignment, do some homework. The teacher collects these, goes to the staff room and evaluates the competence of the students. Some are very clever, understand their teacher. Some didn't understand the teacher, some really weren't interested. The teacher produces a competence of the class, a range of ability. Is it really ability? Let me ask you this question. What if it's confusion? What if we are not teaching our students very well? I devised a method of teaching, which I've just explained to you, where we try to do that. First of all, if the classroom is arranged in rows, change the rows. Most classes are. I travel around the world, and most classes are arranged in rows. It's very difficult, sometimes impossible, for the teacher to reach individual students. So, if we have rows, change the rows into a U shape. This way the teacher can have direct eye contact with the student. And then the teacher can feel if the student's really understanding what they're saying. If the teacher feels that the student isn't understanding, then they should be flexible, change the strategies and change the tactics. Try to teach in a different way. Don't just assume the student doesn't have the ability to understand you. Some principals say to me, "Roy, we have too many classes, we have too many students in a class for this." But you know, I've worked in classes where it's really packed. We had 50 students. Oh, you couldn't hardly breathe. But we found a way to change the classroom design so that we could enable the teacher to move around. And this way, the teacher had the ability to have that direct contact with each student, which is so vital. So, instead of shouting at the children, begin a lesson with some calming music or meditation. I have a friend in America, classes were really out of order. We talked about it, and I suggest meditation. Just a few moments, calm, peaceful meditation. It worked. It works tremendously. Then the teacher can orchestrate these minds into the subject matter. Begin the lesson with a subject, with a story that's relevant to a human being, one the students can identify with. If you're talking about calculus, talk about Isaac Newton, expanding universe. If you're talking about global warming, environmental issues, talk about problems of a child having lack of water, or a child wanting fish. There's no fish anymore because the ice has melted, and therefore there's no supply of arthropods to feed the food chain. Find a story, and do not give textbooks, because when you give a textbook to a student, you're limiting them to the way that they've managed to keep up their understanding and to their language competence to understand what the author of the textbook means. Instead of this, let the teacher examine the textbook, understand the pages, relevant pages, and select very important information and teach that information to all the students. I did a chemistry lesson very recently. There were 8 pages. I analysed the subject matter, and I took out very important information. I condensed this 8 pages into 1.5, and I taught those 1.5 pages in the language of the students in a very hands-on, interactive, meaningful way, so that every single student understood that subject matter. We then made a quiz at the end, which they loved very much because it was fun and competitive. They all understood that subject matter. Then, the last 20 minutes, I asked them to write an assignment, and in doing this, I went along to help each one improve their grammar and language capability in some way. Oh, put a full stop here, put a comma here. What about a different objective? Is this a good introduction? Can we make it a better feeling? Wow, is that the end? Can't you make it more exciting? Help them to develop their competence. Don't just accept it. This is what we do. We evaluate them, but we don't evaluate ourselves in it. So find ways to make it more, find ways to teach the information more relevant to them, and keep this information alive. Every lesson, keep previous lessons into it so you're keeping it alive and interactive, and develop their language competence, develop their storytelling ability, and then they'll get better grades. And you'll find out then this range of ability, which isn't ability, it's just confusion, where the smartest kids are the least confused because they've kept up. The average children are averagely confused because they were half interested and half disinterested as the lessons went by. And the troublemakers, the ones who don't seem to understand anything, they just got lost. So you can find this wide range of confusion into a smaller range of confusion with higher proficiency, so that they will get better grades, better marks, and a better future, and also help the school in the ratings too. My name is Roy Andersen. I'd love to come and meet you wherever you are in the world and help you to understand the work that I've been doing for 30 years. Thank you so much.